What's up, guys? So I'm a day one beta. Hold up, let me just climb this wall. I'm a day one beta PUBG player who loved PUBG back in its heyday. But, I've been hopping back into PUBG recently. And without further ado, here's a 2021 review of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on that PS5 and Xbox Series X. Alright. So for starters, despite PUBG's jankiness and its age, really. Hold up, let me just. Yeah, I'm just doing this guy a favor, just shooting the flies off his shoulders before I get that headshot. But despite PUBG's jankiness and age really showing in 2021, it does maintain some of its charm. Firefights are tense and fun with a big emphasis on positioning rather than running and gun. Oh yeah, sit down. Rather than like running and gunning. This is not Call of Duty Warzone. Okay, you don't get a laser gun. It's got that DayZ or OG Battle Royale style of gameplay, and it's still fun to return to. It has a unique feel to it. No special abilities, no quick movements, none of that. A chicken dinner also, man, it still feels really darn good, as you'll see at the end of this video. But the weapons have a realistic flavor. It's so realistic that I miss all my shots here. They've got visceral recoil, bullet drop, bullet velocity, and it is very fun to have a little flavor, a little bit of sprinkling of that milsim realistic guns, you know what I mean? And although gunplay and movement can feel kind of clunky sometimes, man, that's PUBG. All right, it's got a unique flavor, and that's what we love it for, if we love it. Maps have been slightly modernized with remasters, and it's nice to have a variety of maps to play on, unlike many other battle royales that revolve around one repetitive map. The map pool is big enough to provide variety in the rotation and prevent things from getting stale. But it's not so many maps that it feels oversaturated with mediocrity. This is a balance that many games struggle to strike, and I think PUBG has really hit it with its map pool. What's more, console crossplay is a nice treat that has extended the life of PUBG's somewhat dwindling player base. All right, downsides. Okay, weapons sandbox, it has not evolved much at all. Damn, I cannot shoot today. The weapon sandbox has not evolved much, honestly, with a lot of the new guns over the past few years being very similar versions of old weapons that have been around since the beta. Attempts at modernizing the game, such as Comeback BR, where you fight. It's the Gulag. I'm not going to even explain it. It's just a ripoff of the Gulag. Or a gadget that lets you reattach to the plane, which is what this doofus is trying to use up here. You shoot it up into the sky. It's a gimmicky thing. They got the C4, the Panzerfaust rocket launcher. All these things, they've thrown them into the sandbox, and they're exciting for a short while, but their gimmicky nature quickly becomes clear as day after a few uses. Unfortunately, sit down. Unfortunately, matchmaking is atrocious. Okay, you can pick one of two poisons: a normal mode filled with incompetent AI enemies, or a sweaty ranked match filled with hardcore vets that remain, the few people that remain, and a fair amount of toxicity in that ranked, honestly. I mean, I've found some good random teammates, to be honest, but there's also toxicity. It's hit or miss. I suppose that's the case in any matchmaking, right? As for rank specifically, it's only 64 players instead of 100, which when you're on a map like Miramar, boy, big giant desert map, does that get boring, just having 64 players. Loot spawn rates in ranked mode are so high that an exciting drop, it just doesn't really happen. Within 10 minutes of looting, you can drop in a fucking trailer park. You can drop on an RV and just give it 10 minutes, you'll have everything you need. It kind of takes out the excitement of random loot and dealing with the hand that you're dealt. And I'm not sure I'm crazy about those high, quote-unquote, competitive spawn rates, Looting starts to feel just routine. You get the same thing every time. Those asymmetric situations can be pretty fun, where you got to just deal with whatever hand you've got. Worst of all, though, honestly, skill-based matchmaking. It simply doesn't fit. It does not fit in a battle royale. It does not fit in PUBG. The whole point of a battle royale is being up against the odds in a sandbox that is not super balanced, and just embracing the chaos of many players colliding in unexpected ways. Skill-based matchmaking introduces this less exciting model where you're matched against equally skilled players. And if the model works perfectly, right, if it's perfectly matchmaking, then a squad will win 1 out of 25 or 1 out of 16 games, and a solo will win 1 out of 64 games. That's not fun. All right. In my opinion, the better you are, the more you should win the battle royale, the more you should get that chicken dinner. And I just do not think that skill-based matchmaking fits in PUBG. The foundation of BRs is that they're intentionally not balanced and perfectly competitive. This is by design, and that's what led to their astronomical rise when PUBG and Fortnite were in their heydays, you know. And oftentimes with all these battle royales, PUBG included, these competitive modes, it ain't it. It's just not it, okay? They fail, and the pro leagues are also duty, but we'll leave that for another time. In PUBG, this ranked mode results in hardos that avoid fights. You know, you shoot someone in the foot and their whole team runs away instantly because they want the points for the ranked match. They want to last as long as possible. And that's not fun. That's not what originally set it apart from the sea of competitive shooters. And that's not what we want, okay? That's not what we want. In the case of PUBG, I actually feel that playing at lower ranks is more fun than playing at higher ranks, okay? That should not be the case. That's a bad sign. And the meta in ranked mode has dissolved into incredibly conservative and defensive, just hunkering down, third-person peeking. It's boring. It's not what we hop into PUBG for. It's not it. But, you know, that being said, hopping in with a squad that's not match-made, it is still fun. This game is what you make of it. As for normal mode, it is riddled with bots, which are simply not fun to fight. Here, you know, the biggest problem is not even that fighting bots is unsatisfying and easy, which it is, but the fact that having bots in the match makes it hard to tell what's going on. You hear shots. Is it bots? Should you push the fight? Oh, is it bots or not? You get used to just destroying the lobby of bots, and then you end up in a situation against actual players, and the whole experience in normal mode is soured by the bullshittery of having bots in the first place. In a battle royale, you should be deciding what to do all the time with these crazy situations without any bots involved. It should always be other players. That's what's fun. That's what we want. That's what it always was until they changed it, and it was a terrible step for them to make. You know, it's kind of a part of a series of mistakes that just soured the experience. But hey, before I conclude, here's your reminder to subscribe. You know, I'll give you a second to hit that subscribe button. Okay, thank you for hitting subscribe. All right, so as PUBG ages, so does its engine, and you can feel it. Despite some of its charm remaining, and despite the suspensefulness and exciting allure of a chicken dinner, the developers really have made a series of mistakes, and matchmaking, for example, is a choice between sweaty veterans or brain-dead bots. PUBG is fun for very casual players who want to play normal mode, and very veteran players that want to, you know, hardcore sweat in ranked. But the whole swath of average people in the middle of those two groups are left with two shitty options: battling bots or hopping into a dry, so-called competitive ranked mode. It's rather clear that the developers have prioritized PUBG Mobile, which is an economic decision that really has led to PUBG's gradual decay on PC and console. The devs tend to break as much as they can fix. I mean, like of all the things that changed, they decided to change the menu screen and the boot up screen to say PUBG Battlegrounds. Okay, let's think about that. So they call it PUBG Battlegrounds, which means Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. Okay, and this mistake, it's not a big deal, obviously, but it's just a nice analogy for Blue Hole as a whole. Okay. But, you know, seriously, as much as I want to love PUBG again, the game keeps giving me reasons not to. PUBG is, as it always has been, janky. Even on next gen, performance is inconsistent, draw distances are poor, and all that jankiness remains. You know, the gunfights will feel, occasionally you'll get gunfights that feel, as locals call it, AIDS. All right? Although I look forward to PUBG 2 in 2021, PUBG is a game that isn't worth devoting too much time to. Occasionally hopping in remains fun, but I wouldn't recommend staying in for too long. PUBG in 2021 gets a sturdy 6 out of 10. All right, but I want to hear what you think. Do you disagree? Do you agree? Do you hate my guts? Do you hate the way I sound? I don't know, man. Just let me know down in the comments. Also, if you'd like a review of a certain game, let me know. Until next time, peace out.